Alert forecast with meteorologist Joseph Fain.
Good morning, everybody. 5:49 now, and taking a look at your Friday forecast to finish out the work week here. It's a crisp and clear start to the day. I'm not seeing any visibility issues outside our sky cams, but you do have some very chilly temperatures back down in the low to mid 40s for many of us, upper 30s for some spots for the north like Oakdale, and you could still see these temperatures drop in the next hour before the sun comes up. Now, for particularly those more chilly spots, dew points are not far behind, and with a very quiet breeze, you've got a pretty good potential to see some morning patchy frost out there. So hopefully you were able to protect your plants yesterday evening. But now satellite and radar is still clear. There's still some river flood warnings north of Allen Parish, but the ones in Calcasieu have been lifted. And much further off to the northeast here, you will notice there are actually some freeze watches and freeze warnings, but that's more for northern parts of Louisiana and into Mississippi. Not reaching us, of course, but this is actually for Saturday morning. So that's an indication there is still cooler weather to come as we get into the weekend. Satellite on the bigger picture showing nothing for our state. And on the regional, there's a little bit of cloud cover starting to develop in a few patches further off to the west, mostly over Texas. But that is going to be trying to ride down the jet stream and maybe bringing some very thin cloud cover across southwestern areas. But that's more as we get into this evening, and it definitely won't be bringing rain chances with it. Meanwhile, the breeze looks very similar to what you saw at the door on Thursday. Teetering out of the northeast at times, but still keeping a mostly northerly flow. And all the whole while, gusts will be right around 10 miles per hour, sustained breeze around 5 to 10. So keeping the cool, dry influence over our area. And temperatures are actually looking a little bit cooler for the day overall. If you take a look at futurecasts, we do get our slow but steady warm up, similar to what we saw yesterday still, with lunchtime just barely making it into the 60s by late 10 to 11 o'clock. This afternoon, though, it looks like more areas are going to be stopping right around the mid 60s range, though others should still push into the upper 60s. You may not find anybody hitting 70 degrees this time around, though it's still possible in a few pockets. On top of that, it does look like it will be cooling rather quickly this evening. And again, you might see some thin upper level cloud cover, but I think if anything, it may just enhance your sunset rather than blocking it. Should give you a pretty nice view there. But if you do want to be out for any activities this evening, that morning jacket may be handy to keep with you. And it does drop a little cooler by the look of most models into Saturday morning, back down into the upper and maybe even mid 30s. So Vernon, Beauregard, and Allen likely to see patchy frost again. I'd go ahead and keep those plants protected for at least one more morning if you are in those parishes. Maybe a few spots in very northern Jeff Davis and Calcasieu, you might see it cool enough for patchy frost, but any further south than that, you're not really going to have to worry about it. And looking ahead to the rest of the weekend here, higher pressure moving over our area slowly but surely is going to be more on our eastern side by Sunday. So those morning temperatures are going to get warmer a little bit quicker as humidity tries to slowly rise, and that is going to bring our temperatures up into the start of next week too, where they may encourage a little bit of a chance for some showers with the next front approaching the area, but not immediately pushing through. It may get through more around Thanksgiving, and in the meantime, drought levels are still hanging around with the average dryness we've been getting. There is still some severe levels for southern Calcasieu and parts of Cameron Parish, but a couple of sprinkles may help to alleviate that. It's just that they may fall pretty close to your holiday plans. Looking at your 10-day forecast, so we'll be watching Thanksgiving and Wednesday very closely if you're going to be traveling, and it may just include some sprinkles and not much more than that, depending on how well the front holds together as it shapes up over the next week here. In the meantime, you've got a beautiful weekend to enjoy. Just make sure you're keeping those plants protected if we see one more round of patchy frost tonight into tomorrow.
And of course, you know what that frost is doing to the citrus crop, right?
Yes, I remember you told me.
We got learned.
What does it do, John?
It makes them sweeter, according to the experts. Yeah, I checked that. You know, when you questioned me earlier this week, I Googled it just to make sure I knew from whence I was talking.
I have to do that every so often.
Anyway, and I remembered that from the LSU Ag Center, I believe.
Yeah, they always have good information.